You're listening to your student-run sound alternative, 89.7 FM, KRUI.
Now, take him to be tortured.
Come on.
Where are we going now?
On the air.
That's right, on the air 24 hours a day. Your sound alternative, KRUI, Iowa City.
Judging someone, ego. Accepting someone, spirit. Focus on past, ego. Focus on present, spirit. Defense and attack, ego. Vulnerable, spirit. Hello, Iowa City. You're listening to KRUI. It's 89.7 FM on your radio. It's krui.fm streaming on the internet. My name is Justin Keith Comer. I'm 28 years old. And I'm hosting a show called iHearIC Radio right now. It's a show about local music and local art, and local musicians and local artists, and I put a bunch of other stuff in there too sometimes. This is the 83rd episode of the show. We have a very special guest. Before I introduce that person, I just want to let you know, if you are not already aware, the iHearIC concert series for fall 2019 has been announced. The venues and dates are as follows: August 30th at the Trumpet Blossom Cafe, September 26th at the Mill, October 25th at Trumpet Blossom Cafe, November 21st at the Mill, and December 13th again at Trumpet Blossom Cafe. Lineups to come. I'm working behind the scenes diligently, talking to everyone I know about playing on these shows, and I'll announce them as soon as they're ready. Okay, let's get our guest in here. I gotta move my laptop so I can read it. I'm in a different position than usual. Let me move the mic. All right. Got some audible creaking on the air. Okay, here's the bio of our guest. Joe Sorensen has been writing and performing for 10 years. He started playing piano when he was 5, and he started guitar in middle school. His first album, A November Life, came out in 2008, and he's put out a new album or EP each year since then. He's most recently released a live version of Color, the studio version of which has become the Chinese democracy of his career. Joe has opened for Jacob Metcalf and We the Kings, and generally plays venues in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and Des Moines. On a sunny day, you'll likely find him busking across the street from Lion Bridge Brewing to earn his beer money and make some new friends. Joe writes about life, he sings until he can't, and he plays whatever sounds good to his ears. Most of his songs are autobiographical, but some are about the people he meets and the places he goes. He enjoys using his loop station live, but he'll be the first to admit that Ed Sheeran does it much better than he does. Please welcome back to the show, Joe Sorensen.
Hearing my bio read out loud is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah, I'm sure I would be so uncomfortable to hear the words I wrote about myself coming out of someone else's mouth.
A little bit. Also, the line about Chinese democracy, like, if people don't know, oh God, what was the band?
It's Guns N' Roses.
Yes, if people don't know about Chinese democracy, then that joke makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I get the reference.
Good. I am glad.
Yeah, Chinese Democracy was the album that they were planning to put out after the Use Your Illusion double album, and it took like 15 years before it finally came out. And everyone in the band was gone except Axl Rose.
It's kind of like Tool, but not exactly the same. Mm-hmm. They're finally going to drop their new album.
Oh, so. Yeah. I don't know Tool as well. What's the story there?
They have had a new album that they're supposedly working on for like 15 years, something like that. And it comes out, I think, later this month.
Nice.
So pretty much the same thing.
Good for them.
Indeed.
So, Joe, you appeared previously on this show in episode 20, if you remember.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Kudos to you for keeping this thing going.
Thank you. That was 63 episodes ago.
63.
Yeah. So I think that was like a year and a half or something. So how have you been since then? Fill me in on the
fill you in since
18
then.
months that have passed.
Whale. I'm trying to remember what music stuff I had going on at that time. Working on Color took a long time, just kind of writing it and then putting videos up on YouTube, and still haven't done an actual like studio album of it. Since then, I've been working on going back and editing a lot of my old stuff to put up for streaming, like Spotify, Pandora, all that jazz.
Yeah. How much do you have up on the streaming services?
So I've got a single and an EP, and then fun announcement, my first album, A November Life, just went live on there yesterday. I got that email. So those are up. So I've got a full album, an EP, and a single. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, by the end of August, I will have 4 or 5 more of my albums up on there.
Nice. This may be a little bit behind the curtain, but can I ask, are you doing that all yourself, or do you have like some sort of distributor you're going through?
I'm going through DistroKid for doing all of it.
Yeah, that's a common.
I was going to do a different
decision.
place, but DistroKid is a lot more affordable.
Yeah,
so.
That's where a lot of people go.
Yeah,
I was just wondering because I've been thinking about doing that with my own stuff and just have never.
Yeah, it's
step.
super easy. Not that I should be like giving an official endorsement. Although if someone from DistroKid hears me on air and wants to give me like a year free or a legacy thing free, hey, you totally can.
Yeah.
But no, it's super easy to use, and I'd recommend it.
All right, yeah, maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah,
sometime. I have some free time now, so.
There you go.
So Color is sort of your current project.
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't say so. So Color is the most like finalized thing I have. I'm actually working on back in 2013 or 14, I put out something called the Tension Sessions Volume 1, and I always intended to follow it up with a second one. I've got some other songs that I think fit well with it, so I'm actually going to re-release it this month as Tension, just kind of in and of itself. I released a picture of it on my Facebook and Instagram the other day, so if people want to check out what that cover art is going to be, you can look at that. And so I've got that project going on, and then I'm actually working on some new music. I put out an album in 2015 called Kissing with Open Eyes, and it was all about a relationship, and that relationship came to an end. So now I am working on kind of the follow-up to it, which is all about the aftermath of a relationship. So, and I'm actually going to play a new one from that at some point. I'll probably kick off with a different song first, but I will play that one at some point on our show.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've released how many full albums do you know off the top of your head?
8, I think. I've got A November Life, Death and All Her Pretty Little Monsters, Latitude, Love, Faith, and Hope, which will be the next one that goes up online for streaming. And then I did Bloom, and then I did the Tension Sessions, and then I did Kissing with Open Eyes, and then I did Color. So yeah, so there's 8. And then whenever this new one comes out, which it could be a while, it takes me a while to write stuff. That'll be number 9, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you've been releasing albums since you were in high school.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So bear that in mind if you get on Spotify and listen to A November Life. I recorded that thing when I was 17 years old, and I mixed it all myself, wrote it all myself. So don't expect to hop on there and have it sound like the newest Taylor Swift single.
Sure.
I don't write that poppy of music, but... Yeah,
I mean, my first comparison would have been to
Taylor Swift
from 2019. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I believe I've played a track from that album on this show at some point.
You probably have.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you when or which one it was.
That's okay. Do you want to hear a track off of that?
Do you want to play one?
I can.
Okay.
I had gotten one ready just in case, since I had posted online that there are going to be some fun announcements, and one is that album is up.
Okay.
So I worked up a song from it.
Yeah, well, we're talking about it, so if you want to play it.
Cool. The song is called Coffee and Lighthouses. I wrote it when I was, 16, 17, all about what I thought I was going to be like when I was in my 20s. My life has turned out nothing like this whatsoever, because I always thought I'd want to work at a coffee shop, and that crashed and burned. So, yeah, this is called Coffee and Lighthouses. I still work at the coffee shop on the shore. 20 years have gone by, and I've seen 1,000 waves burst forth. Like all the dreams we used to have while sitting in the lighthouse. Saw the ships go sailing past who never knew about us. The heavens gave a glorious light that cut right through the harbor. 100 100 times we held our breath as we began to wonder, what on earth are we here for? And is there really something more? I still have the bleach blonde hair we wore back then. The world fit in our palm, we had to only play pretend. And nothing was beyond our reach, we only had to dream it. The county lines of city streets until we reached our limit. Years went by so aching fast, the ground began to tremble. Seagulls flew, the angels fell, the world it wasn't stable. And now we're sitting on a road, talking about the things unknown. What on earth are we here for? And is there really something more? These are the questions asked when we are getting older. These are the questions asked by all sooner or later. Do we have time to weigh the signs, map out our options? Or do we take a leap of faith and always wonder, do I dare to question you? Is it wrong? What must I do? Oh! I remember those summer days away from home. We'd wander to the field where we could be alone. Clouds came down around us and the silence turned to thunder. The maple tree we lay beneath provided too much cover. We wandered to the open field to feel the raining come down. Clothes were drenched, our smiles wide as we departed the ground. And now we're sitting in a car, saying now we've come so far. We haven't figured it out yet. We're past just getting our feet wet. These are the questions asked when we are getting older. These are the questions asked by all sooner or later. Do we have time to weigh the signs, map out our options? Or do we take a leap of faith and always wonder? Told since the age of 2 that the earth was round, but now we find ourselves just staring at the ground. I've always listened to everything I'm told, but I am growing farther as I'm growing old. I've only got so many times around this sun, and will I have time to find it out before I'm done? Do I doubt you? Maybe, but I can't help myself. A growing heart will always look at something else. Could I ever deny you? That's the point we're coming to. Do any other options work? I need to know before I'm in the dirt. I still work work at the coffee shop on the shore.
That was Coffee and Lighthouses by Joe Sorensen. He's here in the studio. He just played that and sang that here for us all. And I need to play a public service announcement real quick, and
Yes, you do.
and then we can talk.
Cool.
Here we go.
Can't get enough of KRUY 89.7 FM? We can't either. Connect with us by searching KRUY 89.7 FM on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Google+, to stay updated on what's happening every week, from ticket giveaways to live in-studio sessions.
That's right. KRUI, an advertisement for the station you're already listening to. If you're just tuning in, I'm Justin. This is iHearIC Radio. I'm here with Joe Sorensen. Before the break there, he played one of his older songs called Coffee and Lighthouses. And I wanted to say that how do you feel about having like a record of how you expressed yourself from when you were 17 or 16? Was it 16?
So it came out when I was 16 or 17. I don't remember exactly when I wrote that song.
Yeah.
But yeah, it came out when I was 17. It's interesting. I think about what those songs talk about and how I am in a lot of ways the same person, but in a lot of ways not the same person.
Yeah.
So like a lot of my early music was lots of questions about, you know, what is the meaning of existence? I mean, that's still a lot of my music. Sure. But like really from like a religious standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, and trying to answer some of those things. And that's what a lot of Coffee and Lighthouses is about. And I have very different thoughts on some of those questions than I used to.
Yeah. Well, and that song specifically is really interesting because it was your idea of what you would be like now.
Yes.
Then.
Yes.
And now you are singing it.
Yes.
It's such a cool like circle that you've made.
Yeah. and it's something that I think about of like, if you write something and you don't really stand by that anymore, can you still play it? And like, at what point for a musician does something stop becoming your music and start becoming the music of people who listen to it? And like, that question never crossed my head until I actually started having people listening to the stuff I wrote. And like, now I'm on a radio show, which means people are listening to it. And so I've wondered that sort of thing. And it's actually kind of cool. This is a side tangent. There's a band called Say Anything.
Yeah.
That did a bunch of like kind of emo music back in the early 2000s. The lead singer Max Bemis does something called Song Shop, where you can pay him to write a song for you based on whatever concept. And so I paid for him to do that. It's called Song Shop. And I said, will you write a song about what it's like to no longer be the person that used to write songs? Because he's talked about how like that he's not the same person he was when he wrote a lot of songs when he was younger. And so he wrote a song called That Boy, which is just like how parts of you are still there, but you're not the same person. And so, yeah, it's a thing that I think a lot of people think about. And I don't know. That was a really long-winded non-answer to your question.
No, I think it's like an interesting subject because, I mean, we're constantly changing people, hopefully growing.
Yeah.
But sometimes we get worse.
Yeah. Well, that's like thinking a little bit about, I put out that album called Kissing with Open Eyes, which is all about being in a romantic relationship. When you're no longer in that relationship, how does that work for playing those songs? And, you know, you want to keep them around because you put a lot of meaning into that. And I mean, I'm very fortunate that the relationship ended well. And so I don't have a lot of bitterness tied to those songs. But just thinking about how do you play those? What sort of life do they take on? And I was talking about this with somebody else recently, and they said at some point you do start to just become a performer. Like they're still your songs, but
you're sort of
are
acting.
Yeah. And then I get into this whole like, is that disgenuine? Because I'm this person who doesn't really want to feel like I'm putting on a persona, although arguably we all do. But that's a whole philosophical conversation in and of itself.
Yeah, that's interesting too because there's you. Like at home alone.
Yep.
That's like maybe the realist you, maybe.
Yeah.
And then there's also like when you're out busking, that's maybe another you.
Yep.
And it's, I mean, they're probably similar.
Yes.
But you are going to act differently out performing for people, and you're expressing. Well, I want to ask you specifically: is there anything that you expressed on that first album that you object to now? Like any specific ideas that you no longer feel? Are correct or relevant or anything?
So I mean, so on that first album I had a lot of very, very like we'll just go there. I had a lot of really traditional, like Christian evangelical values
Sure.
that I don't necessarily still hold to. While I can respect that people have those, I don't have a lot of the same kind of religious perspectives. And so I don't play some of those same songs, and I don't mix with some of them. It's also really interesting. I was thinking today, there's a song on there called Rick, which is about this guy who is a church camp director. And he used to say something along the lines of, when I die, I'm going to take as many people to heaven with me as I can. So here's where it's interesting. So you have to think of it in the context of what he was saying was that he wanted to touch a lot of lives.
Right. I'm sure I can understand
yes, so
how he means that.
So that's how he meant it. And I put that line directly in the song. And it has been so interesting since then as things like mass shootings happen more and more often and terrorist attacks happen more and more often. That line really has not aged well, and it doesn't sit well because when someone says, I want to take as many people with me as I can, like that sounds awful.
Yeah, that's a kind of an alarming statement.
It is. And so it's, if I could go back and rewrite that song, and maybe I will someday, write a different song that I feel like, because he was a great guy. That was maybe just not the best choice for me to try to put directly into a song.
Yeah, maybe not the
not the
context
best way to honor his legacy.
Yeah.
But so that is, I guess that would be an example of a song that I kind of object to now, I guess. But there's lots of songs. There's things that I did a couple days ago that I still object to. So we're all constantly changing.
Yeah, and I don't want to push you to talk about any certain thing, but feel free to go wherever you like. Yeah. Discussing your, past beliefs and current beliefs and how they compare. Yeah. Anything you're comfortable expressing, feel free to bring it out here.
We'll do that.
So let me ask you about, how often do you busk? You mentioned it in your bio, so I assume it's kind of a central part.
So I used to go out a lot. I haven't so much this summer. Probably 2 summers ago, I was going out at least every week, a couple of times a week. This summer, not so much. I do play at most of the farmers markets. I played at one yesterday. It's kind of whenever I'm in the mode to go down there. This summer has been really kind of rough on me. Just going through that breakup, thinking about what I want to do with my life for a career. I've thought about moving. That has taken a lot of emotional energy. And while music should be a really good outlet for that, a lot of times I just don't have the energy to go do it.
Yeah, well, music is work. I mean,
no, it really is.
As fun as it can be, it's also like there's a lot of time that goes into it.
Yeah. So I would say when I wrote that bio, I was probably going and playing out on the sidewalks once or twice a week. Since then, not nearly as often. But that's just, I don't know, life tends to go in cycles. I tend to go through times when I'm like super interested in music, or then I'll be really into reading and writing because I've got a lot of different hobbies and passions. So hopefully that kind of answers that question.
Yeah, it does. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I think once when you were playing at a farmer's market, my sister saw you playing and bought a CD from you.
Oh.
I can't remember if I ever told you that.
I don't think you did.
I think this was last summer.
I should have let her just take it for free, or maybe she did. Maybe she left a tip and took it, because generally I give those things away for free, which is why I've started re-editing things. I made 7 cents on Spotify the other day, which I know like doesn't sound like anything to people, but considering it's like 0.008 cents per stream, the fact that I've made 7 cents off a stream. Anyways.
Yeah, and you haven't been on there that long, right?
No, so I was super excited.
And you don't have that much music on there yet.
I don't. Yeah. But all of that being said, I have always felt like my music wasn't, or my recordings weren't quality enough to charge people money for, which is why I've given it away so much. And that's why I'm going back and editing it before I put it online, so it sounds at least a little bit better.
Sure.
At the same time, I posted the one that I did when I was 17, because I was like, you know what? I invested a lot of time in this when I was 17 years old, and I want to just put it up there as it is.
Yeah. A couple years ago, I bought everything that you had up on Bandcamp.
Oh,
and then like over the course of the next few weeks, I listened to everything in order. It's a very nice, progression, because the early stuff is like, I mean, it's kind of noisy. You can tell that you were not super experienced with recording, but it's still like, it has like a youthful energy to it, Well,
thank you.
I mean, just to record a whole album when you're a teenager is like, you have to have cared a lot to make that happen.
Yeah, that's true.
And the energy that you put into it is like apparent in listening to it. And then, you get better and better at both recording and songwriting as I listened through the whole catalog.
Well, thank you.
It's cool that you have that old stuff still available, even if you don't feel like it's
That's a good point. I'll have to make sure that I keep on to at least hang on to those older mixes.
Oh, definitely.
So at least I've got them.
Yeah, don't lose those.
Yeah. That's a good point. Do you want to hear another song?
Yeah, what do you have for us?
So I can either play the brand new one because you're talking about trajectories, or I can play another one that I've got planned. Which do you want to hear?
Let's do the new one. Make sure that we get that.
All right.
That done.
So this is a new one that my friend Aaron has heard the first verse and the chorus to, and it's called "Perfectly Imperfect." And if and when, not if, when I get my new album done, it'll be on it. But this comes out of that cycle of being no longer in a relationship and looking back on that and realizing that we were a perfectly imperfect fit. So hopefully you guys like it. You were my perfectly imperfect fit. Took me entirely too long to admit it, but I wouldn't take back a minute with you, my perfectly imperfect fit. I wanna wake up in the mountains. You wanna sleep in on the shore. You want us up all night dancing under bar lights. I wanna dance in our apartment with my head on yours. I wanna travel across the country. You wanna sail across the sea. You wanna drive the fastest cars. I wanna stare up at the stars. You broke my heart when you unbent my knee. You were my perfectly imperfect fit. Took me entirely too long to admit it, but I wouldn't take back a minute with you, my perfectly imperfect fit. I wanna shout it from the rooftops. You wanna lock it all indoors. You wanna work for perfect way beyond the sun gone down. I just wanted someone to love when the world burns out. You were my perfectly imperfect fit. Took me entirely too long to admit it, but I wouldn't take back a minute with you, my perfectly imperfect fit. And they say love can last forever if you learn to make it work. Well, we talk through everything, the nights we'd fight and the times we lied, but this time we're letting go. This time we both know that we're a perfectly imperfect fit. It took us 4 full years to admit it, but I wouldn't take back a minute with you, my perfectly imperfect fit. You were my perfectly imperfect
was Joe Sorensen, a very new song. It's called Perfectly Imperfect.
There you go.
Yeah, I have to do a weather report now.
There you go.
I have an idea, though. We've never had a piano up here in the studio for my show.
Okay.
Would you mind improvising a little bit while I do a weather report?
Sure.
You know, it could be just like a couple of major chords or whatever, but just some background music for me would be awesome. Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, folks, it's weather report time. It's currently 3:31 p.m. It's sunny outside. It's 87 degrees Fahrenheit, but it feels like 88 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty warm out there, so put on some sunscreen. Bring an umbrella if you need to be in the shade. Precipitation's at 0%. We've got 41% humidity. And 7-mile-per-hour winds coming from the southwest. Weather information provided by weather.com. And background music provided by Joe Sorensen. This has been today's weather report. Thank you so much for listening. Yes, that was perfect.
That was fun. That was fun. I can now say that I have improvised music for a weather report. I can put that in my bio.
Yeah, definitely. Put it on your professional resume.
There we go.
You apply to real jobs.
There we go. I provided background music to a weather report one time.
Yep. August 4th, 2019, radio appearance.
Perfect.
So, that song, Perfectly Imperfect, which is about a relationship that you were in for a while?
Yeah, almost 4 years.
Okay, yeah, that's
so
significant.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, do you have any sort of reservation about expressing your, like, real emotions and feelings in a song? Or have you struggled with that at any point?
I have struggled with realizing that I talk about other... this is interesting. So I have only struggled with the fact that I talk about other people in songs, and then I've been approached by people before about, like, you put me in a song. I don't know how I feel about that. And so that I tend to have a reservation with. It's interesting. I was saying earlier, I never really expected people to listen to my music. My music has always been just for me. And maybe Color was the album that was a little bit different than that. But it's always just been me expressing myself and how I get things out. My lyrics are really straightforward and really literal, just because I've kind of always used it as a journal. So no, I don't have a whole lot of reservations about kind of putting myself out there, because I feel like the world could use a little more openness and honesty, and maybe that sets me up to get hurt, and maybe I'm a little bit naive in that regard, but I feel like we could use a little bit more of that. As far as, like, some of the more recent music, I did talk about the person. I said, hey, I'm a musician. This is how I deal with stuff. There's going to be breakup songs. And they're like, yeah, I get that. So I try to not put, like, too many super specific details in there.
You didn't say their name or anything.
No. And I was talking to somebody recently. I've only put somebody's name in, like, one song, and that was the time when they were like, you wrote a song about me. I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But no, and then it's also this weird mix between, like, how directly personal do you make it and how somewhat vague do you make it so that other people can still relate to it, But I don't know. I'm really, really proud of that song.
I do find that one maybe not universal, but I certainly related to it.
Well, good.
Like I haven't been in that many relationships, but but I've been in a relationship that lasted for around the same amount of time as yours, and it's like good for a while, then clearly not working, and then
and then it just kind of and that's I really like how the bridge turned out on it. I don't know, songs like this, they almost seem like they write themselves, because like I'll come back in later and I'll be like, I wrote that? When did I write that? Like, how did that work? And so I guess that's that age-old question of, like, where does music come from in the muse? But just that whole, like, they say love can last forever if you learn to make it work. And it's, well, we talk through everything, because we did. Like, we always talk through everything all the time. And you can make things work, but sometimes you just know, like, it's the right time to let it go. Like, there's another song that'll be on that album. It's called Sometimes. Love means letting go sometimes, because you always hear that phrase, like, love means letting go. But I don't always think that's accurate because there's people who are in love and stay in love. So I don't think that has to happen. I think it is love means letting go sometimes.
Sure.
You know, and people just don't say that.
Well, yeah, there's love is such a like intangible subject. It's like you can't really have absolutes like that.
Correct.
I don't think.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's actually, so like this new album, I don't know what it's going to be called. I have to write all of it and then I'll figure out the title, but it's kind of a pairing with this other one before it. And the other one before it was called Kissing with Open Eyes. And the whole idea behind that is that, you know, kissing tends to be very symbolic of love, but having your eyes open is when you see things. And so it's that love is not just this like honeymoon period that everyone talks about. Like there's a lot more to it. And so that's kind of what that album title means to me, is Kissing with Open Eyes. It's love and you see everything else that's going on. And that love is not this unidimensional, simple thing.
Right. You're not not paying attention because you're in love.
Yeah. So
yeah, and the sort of idea that's being expressed in Perfectly Imperfect reminds me a little bit of an older song of yours. I don't know if I know the title, but I remember the lyric, how do I say that I love you but I can move on?
Yeah, so that's from Kissing with Open Eyes.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, so same idea. Kind of written at a different time, but that really getting at that same question of you love someone, but is it working? Is it the right thing? I don't know. This is a little deep. This is a little off music.
That's fine.
I'm not somebody who believes in soulmates. I just don't think that that's a thing. I've seen enough really good relationships fall apart and then new really good relationships start.
Sure, yeah.
Or someone passes away and then several years later they get remarried and like the new marriage does not replace the old one or anything like that. So I don't believe in the idea that there's one person on this planet, especially the idea that like there's one person on this planet and they just so happen to live in the same city that you do and they're around the same age and you happen to meet them. Like there's almost 8 billion people on this planet. Like really?
Yeah, it's fun to, have a little bit of romanticism, but there's also, practical considerations to who you may end up in a relationship with.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong to acknowledge that.
No,
yeah.
It
doesn't ruin what you have with other people. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I feel like relationships involve a level of work. Like if it was just soulmates, there would be no work to it. And that's, I guess, what, how do I say that I love you? It's that you love somebody, but there's work and it's not a soulmate. And I don't know. Music can speak for itself. I don't need to talk about a song too much because then it loses its magic.
Yeah. Well, your music has words in it, which
it's true.
Leaves a lot to latch onto and discuss.
That is true. And my lyrics are usually pretty straightforward. I don't tend to write very vague. That's just not what I do. Which is, I don't know. It has its goods and its bads. People can write really vague music that works really well. People can write really specific music that doesn't work very well. I just write what I write and I hope that it works for somebody.
Yeah. Well, I'm still on this in my mind. You brought up soulmates, and it's making me think about predetermination as a whole. How do you feel about like things being predetermined in some sort of like spiritual or?
That is a really big question.
I know.
That's really.
I thought I'd zoom out a little.
No, that's a really big question. In general, I'm not someone who believes in fate. I think that the saying "everything happens for a reason." Can be really comforting, but if you push on that too much, it starts to fall apart. And I think that people don't like it when you push on that very much. So I actually read a really, really good book about this recently. So there is a author, he used to be a pastor that I really like. His name is Rob Bell. And he became controversial because he wrote a book about how hell might not be forever. So then everybody didn't like him anymore.
Right,
so now he has
against the doctrine there.
Yes. Yes. So now he has a podcast and he had a special speaker on his podcast and the special speaker's name is Peter Rollins. And Peter Rollins is originally from Ireland and he is a theologian. And I found a lot of the stuff he said super, super interesting. And he has a book called Insurrection that I read recently. And I don't know if I agree with all of it. I read another one of his books and it really doesn't matter if you agree with all. Tangent, I think we need to stop thinking that we have to agree with everything that people say in order to like them, respect them, and get along with them. I think we need to like recognize that we might not completely agree with somebody, but we can still respect them. And anyways,
there's usually common ground.
And we have to start seeing that, like, we need to remember that there's common ground. But anyway, so he wrote this book and it's really like challenging, but it talks about kind of some of the ideas from like Nietzsche and hanging on to those in like a Christian aspect, which is really interesting because Nietzsche was like totally against religion.
Yeah.
but just staring into the void and the void staring back and giving up these ideas that there has to be a purpose for everything and how that is super terrifying, especially like in traditional thoughts of religion. But that if you can let go of some of those things, maybe that is where the divine starts to come in, because you're not trying so hard and you're not trying to hang on to it. I don't know. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's a super good book. And all that to say is he has some good perspectives on like everything happening for a reason is maybe not such a useful thing. But then what can we do with that? Because it's one thing to say, yeah, I don't believe everything happens for a reason. And then you just kind of let that sit there, which is fine. But it is, in my opinion, better if you can then go somewhere with that and do something with that. It's kind of like criticizing the establishment. Cool, that's fine. But like, what is your solution instead? Like, what are you proposing instead? And that's what I think is much more useful rather than just like criticizing other people. If you're going to criticize an idea or something, then propose what you think is better and how you think it's going to happen. So that's
Awesome.
another non-answer to your question about what
mean,
do I think about fate. And
I know
all
this
of
is
that.
stuff that you think about and read about, so I figured I would try to pull some of that out of you.
It is. This is stuff I think about. And that's so on the album Tension, that is going to get released later this month, it'll have a brand new song on it that I'm working on. It really addresses some of those ideas. It's a really dark album. If anybody noticed on the album art, it's got the parental advisory thing on it.
Nice.
Because it drops the F word a lot.
Nice.
And it's a really depressing album. It was a really dark period of time when I wrote it, and there were a lot of kind of dark things going on in life. My dad listens to all my music, and he's told me that he won't listen to that album.
Wow.
Because it's probably really hard for a parent to listen to a kid
definitely.
talk about writing a suicide letter.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I'm sure it is.
And it's been hard for me to go back and listen to some of that stuff I wrote. And so I really, that's a hard one to put out there. And it's almost like you need to have a trigger warning or something on it. But it also has some really hopeful songs. And that's why it's called Tension, is because there are these really dark songs on there, and then there's these really hopeful songs on there. And even some of the really dark ones have a lot of kind of light elements to them. And it fits with that idea of like, is there a purpose for everything? Maybe there's not. What is the answer? There's all this tension, and living in that tension, we can actually grow a lot, but people don't like to do it.
Yeah, definitely. It's sort of like cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Is how you like figure things out.
Yeah, people don't like pain. People don't like facing past mistakes, any of that stuff. And I get it. I don't either.
Yeah, right.
But that's where we grow, is when we allow ourselves to do those things and we don't just run to the easy coping skills. Which, also full disclaimer, like there is a time and a place when like you need to not dive into all of the pain. Sometimes things are so bad that like you have to let yourself like,
you gotta exit for a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. So like there were 2 mass shootings yesterday. If people don't watch the news, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah. And a third smaller one this morning, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are things that I could only sit with for so long. And I felt really bad when I was no longer sitting with that, but like I had to.
Yeah.
And so when I say things about like we need to face our pain and sit with our pain, that doesn't mean we need to do it all the time, because like you can't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Life
like
kind of impossible to navigate.
like at some point you do need to go just like get an ice cream cone or walk outside or watch a cute cat video. Actually, so Peter Rollins, when he's doing this podcast, he talks about all this super deep stuff, and then there's a pause and he says, go watch some cute cat videos. And he says it with like this Irish accent, and it's phenomenal.
Nice.
But yeah, he's talking about that sort of thing. You need to do probably a spot thing.
It's about time for me to play a Grant spot. After that, do you want to play a song?
Yes, that sounds phenomenal.
What song are we going to hear?
Let's do after that Liquor and Ahead of Medicine.
Okay, so I'm going to play the Grant spot.
Okay.
As soon as that's over,
okay,
you're on, okay?
Support for KRUI is brought to you in part by the Englert Theater. The Englert highlights the talents of local performers, artists, ensembles, and also hosts regional, national, and international touring performances. The Englert is located at 221 East Washington Street. For more information, call 319-688-2653 or visit www.englert.org.
Sitting on a Sunday at a sidewalk piano coming down. A long night of drinking and a morning full of thinking, and it's 4 in the afternoon. I'm looking out over the park at the people, and the sky is turning dark as the clouds come rolling in. Begin again. Maybe I can use a downpour to make me cover up the keys and move on with my life. 'Cause that sun still shines despite the rain. That child still calls my name the same. Just liquor and a head of medicine that turned the world to gray. Turn the world to gray. Sitting on a Sunday at a sidewalk piano, turning around. Phrases that I said and all the faces that I met last night. Tumbling through the time every second, and my mind is burning blind on clouds of chemicals that won't let go. I push it, pull it, shadows of a ghost. It's time to close the keys and walk away. 'Cause that sun still shines despite the rain. That child still calls my name the same. Just liquor and a head of medicine that turned the world to gray. Turn the world to gray. Now you always find myself back here. This mix of drinks and drugs and fears. Now you always find myself back here, wishing that I could disappear. Now you always find myself back here. This mix of drinks and drugs and fears. Now you always find myself back here, wishing that I could disappear. 'Cause I need you here. But it's just liquor and a head of medicine. It's just liquor and a head of medicine. It's just liquor and a head of medicine that turned the world to gray. Turn the world to gray.
That was Liquor and a Head of Medicine by Joe Sorensen, who is sitting across from me here in the studio.
Thanks.
If you're just tuning in, this is iHearIC Radio on KRUI. It's a show about local music, and you're about to hear the last 10 minutes of it. So, Joe, I wish we could go long, but unfortunately I have somewhere I have to be after this.
Hey, that's A-okay.
So,
if I can say something about that one.
Yeah,
so that one is up for streaming. So it's from an EP called Where the Sidewalk Ends. And I put what I'm calling an acoustic version up of it because sometime I really do want to do like drums and guitar and bass and all that jazz with it because I feel like those songs would lend well to it. But if you liked that song, you can find it on Spotify, Pandora, all that jazz. That EP's got a couple other good songs on it that I'm really happy with. Those are some fun ones to write. It kind of, that came along before Color, and it was this kind of new cycle of music for me where it was a lot more like pop rock based, and because I let myself go with that. I used to try really hard not to write pop music, and I just kind of embraced it because it's really fun to play. And when you're going to play shows, people generally want to hear a lot of upbeat stuff, not a lot of downer music. And most of my early stuff is like downer piano music. So yeah, writing some of that fun stuff, but also like downer lyrics. That song is about drinking too much on your meds and ending up with a really bad hangover. So,
yeah, but it's got a nice rhythm, you know.
It does.
You sort of feel good.
It's like if you've ever listened to very much music by Bastille, all of their stuff is super upbeat, but their lyrics tend to be really like downer.
I kind of like that contrast.
Yeah.
You know, like music that's like not good to boogie to, but if you're actually paying attention, you get sad.
Yeah, but it's kind of nice because I mean that's also how life is.
Oh yeah, sure.
There's some great things and then there's some sad things and there's some great things and there's some sad things and they can happen like at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
But
nice. Well, while we're wrapping up here, is there anything you would like to plug for the listening audience?
Yeah. So a week from yesterday, I will be playing at North Liberty Porch Fest. Which for anybody who doesn't know what Porch Fest is, it is kind of a nationwide event where cities will sign up that they want to do it and they will pick a neighborhood within that city and people will volunteer their porches or driveways or yards or whatever for people to play on. So I've done that 2 years now, I don't remember. But I'll be playing there next Saturday, August 10th from 4:30 to 5:30. The following Saturday, I'll be at Cedar Rapids Porch Fest from 5:30 to 6:30. So that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it. They're full hour sets, so I'll have my guitar and my piano, have my loop station out there.
I know for sure you played at the 2017 North Liberty Porch Fest.
Yes,
because I was there.
Because you were there, and I'm pretty sure I played, and I know I played it the year after that because the first one was the year that it was really, really hot.
Yes, that was when I discovered the kind of music that I make doesn't work very well in the sun.
yes, because equipment was like malfunctioning because it was so hot. And
I was malfunctioning. I was like barely conscious.
There you go. But yeah, those are the two big shows. And then otherwise, I'm just really working on getting stuff up online. I really hope to have more of my stuff streaming before those shows so I can plug it to people. But that's kind of the big stuff that I've got going on. I'm also playing at like different open mics. So that's a smaller thing. But if you're in the Cedar Rapids, Marion area and you want to go to Ramsey's this Tuesday and the following Tuesday, I'll be there. And a week from today, I plan to be at the open mic at Franklin Street Brewery in Manchester. It's super cool, actually. They do an open mic / potluck.
Oh, fun.
So
yeah, that's cool.
People can just like bring, because the brewery doesn't have its own food. So people can just bring food and it's a really cool community-based thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to plug your website if that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's joesorensenmusic.com. Joe's last name is spelled Sorensen. joesorensenmusic.com. It's got links to all of his social media and where you can stream his music and all that stuff. Anything else that you want to let them know about before I get into my list?
That's all that I've got that I need to plug, I think.
Awesome. All right, here's my stuff. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I have dates and venues booked for the iHearIC Fall 2019 concert series. We'll be at Trumpet Blossom on August 30th, The Mill on September 26th, Trumpet Blossom again on October 25th, The Mill on November 21st, and Trumpet Blossom once again on December 13th. I'm getting the lineups figured out behind the scenes, and we'll announce them as soon as possible. Joe, would you like to maybe plan one of those? We can talk off air.
Yeah, no, I've been meaning to get back to you about that and try to figure out which one. But yes, I would like to play at one of those.
Great. Other than that, I have a podcast I recorded with Christine Burke last month available on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/ihearic. If you are interested in hearing a concert band perform in a park in Cedar Rapids, you have one more opportunity to do so. It's tonight at 7:30 at Beaver Park. I run sound for them. It's a good time. Check out our website, ihearic.com. You'll find links to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, Instagram, Bandcamp, iTunes, Google Play, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Spotify pages on that website. Also, an image featuring the concert season if you did not hear what I said earlier, as well as a Google form if you would like to sign up to get involved with either the concert series or the radio show. Speaking of the radio show, I have to take a break from it next week. I will be in Wisconsin because my wife Ashley is running a triathlon and I need to be there. So I'll be back here in the studio on August 18th. Don't know what I'm going to do yet, but it will be fun, probably. And that should be at 3 p.m. If you want to get in touch for any reason, best way to do so is by email, ihearic@gmail.com. Oh yeah, I have a list of other people's shows I was going to say too, since I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. I'll do it as fast as possible. There's a writer's open mic today at Iowa City Public Library at 4 p.m. Carlisle Evans Peck is performing at High Ground tomorrow night at 7. Vera Rose Smith is opening, and I will be playing cello with her because my mouth is broken and I can't play saxophone. Mark E.G. will be at Nubo Synth Group at CSPS in Cedar Rapids on the 7th at 7 p.m. Feed Me Weird Things Feed Me Weird Things 28th concert will be also on the 7th at 9 p.m. at Trumpet Blossom. CJ Boyd is the headliner. Miller Vanek will be opening. That's Kyle Miller, aka Haunter, and Gabby Vanek, friend of the show. Next weekend is Gray Area. That's at Flat Black. That's August 9th through 11th. Check out the Flat Black website to find all the stuff for that. Chompers will be playing at Yacht Club with openers Clayton Ryan and the Mamiltons on August 9th at 8 p.m. 319 Fest is at Nubo in Cedar Rapids on August 10th. Muddy Ruckus will be playing at Yacht Club on August 10th at 9 p.m. with openers Good Devils and No More Honey. On August 15th at 9 p.m., a show at Gabe's will feature Stressica, True Commando, and Alex Body. On August 16th at 9 p.m. at Yacht Club, Beetho is throwing his Summer Slam number 4. This is sort of a thing he puts together for his birthday. It features a bunch of DJs and rappers. Should be a good time. And I think it's going to go pretty late into the night if you are into that. One more show, August 17th at 9 p.m. at Yacht Club. Zaptura and Goat Foam will be performing with opener Purple Frank. Okay, that's it. See you in 2 weeks. Joe, did you want to maybe play another song before we go?
Sure, I can. Do you want a fast song or a slow song?
Let's end with a fast song, and then when you're done with that, I'm going to close out with a rap song, which I don't play on the show nearly often enough. This is by Jim Swim and Tyler Stuke. It's called Falling/Following. It's from an album they just released called Soft and Gold. Cool. Which you can find on Bandcamp.
All right.
But Joe, what are you going to play
This
first?
is a song called It Gets Better, and you can find it on my website. I think you can also find a couple versions on YouTube. So it'll eventually be up on SoundCloud or Spotify and all that jazz, but hope you like it. It gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you like it's everything. It gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you like it's everything. I got online tonight, I found another post of pride behind the walls I tried to build on my inside. From another crying eye that said, tonight I wanna die. Well, I write to let you know that I am by your side tonight. And it gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you like it's everything. It gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you like it's everything. There's a mess inside my head, and every answer ends in death, and every stress and word unsaid leaves me pretending in my bed. I've got no projects, got no plans, wasted time and empty hands. But in the depths of my regret, a voice that said that it gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you like it's everything. It gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you, 'cause it's everything. I wish I had a promise and answer a plea, but I've just got a sentence that sometimes sets me free. I wish I had a promise and answer a plea, but I've just got a sentence that sometimes sets me free. I wish I had a promise and answer a plea, but I've just got a sentence that sometimes sets me free. That it gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you like it's everything. It gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you, 'cause it gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you, 'cause it's everything. It gets better, better, better. I don't know what that means, but I'll sing it out to you, 'cause it's everything.
That was It Gets Better by Joe Sorensen. And this is the end of the show. Thank you for listening to iHearIC Radio. Thank you, Joe, for joining me in the studio today.
Thanks for having me, Justin.
We were great at talking and playing music. All right, here is Falling/Following by Jim Swim and Tyler Stuke. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Coffee and cigarella, lately I've been in Vela. Look at these bitter fellas, like how could they feel that? Gosh, and I feel bad, watch them get real mad. Gosh, they need asanas helping me heal that. Yesterday got me, I lost it, wrecked me and lost my deposit. Pessimist top from my closet, said he's my real dad. Ominous signs on my list, gotta sit. Gotta just call my mama, call me common sense. It's all been spent, conversations about what all this meant. I gotta vent, tell me how I shouldn't sweat. I'm more in the simulation, I'll get more participation. Just advise me, do it wisely. Twice I tried the different versions. ISO in immersion, feel myself a different person. Set by what's new inside me. Yeah, I'm riding the life, I'ma fight like Quixote. Take a pic of my stickers so you can see I've been voting. I'm having earnest discussions with bots subversively rushing. Type parappa tap tap, that's some nervous percussion. Yeah, words don't mean nothing, want a purpose to serve. I'm serving purpose's cousin. Yeah, we all love the strong man, fly by his lights, do some right by the wrong plan. Yesterday castles in the sand, what's the statue say? He got buried where I stand, put my head below. Learn the secrets of the land, said the strings don't pull their hand. It's just business as usual. Look at my cuticles, think of things inexcusable. Do my human occupation, it's just the usual. Choosing illusions, beautiful, soothing and wholly suitable. Given my occupation, am I following, falling or following? Am I following, falling or following? Cops on the interstate wanna follow me, God calling, follow me, falling or following? Block my getaway. Am I following, falling or following?
KRUI 89.7 Iowa City.
You're listening to KRUI Iowa City.